What's up, guys? Welcome back to another HERR Lounge podcast. I'm excited about today. We have an amazing guest. But before we get started and introduce her, and because she's got a long resume, and I'm gonna let her tell the resume because I couldn't keep up with everything John and Rob were telling me. So
it's true.
Today's quote says, "You are the only one in charge of your destiny. Unfair things may happen to you. Unfortunate times may come to you, but you always get to choose how you respond. You can live in frustration and bitterness, or you can be the bigger person and just play the hell out of the cards you are dealt. The truth is that not a single person can choose the cards they receive, but everyone chooses how they play their cards."
It's like you chose that specifically for Tara. It's like that quote. The last 2 times we've hung out, it's like very that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I've been just kind of more on meaningful, I guess, rather than like, let me put some thought into this instead of like, you got this kind of quotes. So anyway, welcome to the podcast, Tara. Thank you for being on. I've heard amazing things about you from both Don and Rob.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have you on. So first off, guys, let's welcome Tara. What's your last name, Tara?
McClure.
Whoa.
Like Troy McClure?
Yes.
From The Simpsons?
Wow.
Yes, that's my grandfather.
Oh,
that's cool.
Nice. So I'll let you introduce yourself because you're like BJJ instructor. You are used to be on the radio.
Yeah.
Tim Kennedy
instructor. Yeah. Like, I mean, that alone.
Yeah. How do you
Shit.
usually lead? Like, what do you usually tell people?
I usually don't talk about myself too much.
And to top it off, she's pretty. I wasn't expecting that. I know that's really judgmental, and I know I'm probably going to get talked about on the podcast for that because I just wasn't expecting like such a bubbly, pretty girl.
When I first met her, I told Dawn later, I was like, she kind of looks like Gina Carano. I know you've gotten that. I know you've gotten that.
Totally, she
A few
does.
times.
Yes, she does. Oh my God, yeah.
Which is such a big honor. I
Wow.
think Gina Carano's gorgeous.
Yeah, she is.
Thank you. Yeah, I teach self-defense to women and children. I teach jiu-jitsu to women and children. I went to school for opera, so that's kind of a weird connection there between mixed martial arts and then opera. But other than that,
do they have anything in common besides
Breathing.
the discipline?
Breathing.
Yeah.
the breathing. Yeah. I felt like I was at a big advantage starting jiu-jitsu because of my opera background. It like builds up your diaphragm, and everything is about breath and breathing. And that's what I've been focusing on a lot the last year or so.
Wow.
Is especially with the women that I teach, is focus on your breath, because that's the only thing, like you were saying with your quote, that's the only thing that you can really anchor to in the present moment. And it's very important if you're feeling panicked to connect to your breath. And a lot of the times in jiu-jitsu, you feel like you're panicking.
Yeah. Hell yeah, you
You
are.
have big sweaty men on top of you trying to choke you.
I know. I was telling Rob about whenever I first did jiu-jitsu, I was at the time, there still wasn't a lot of girls in the class. So it was me. And then sometimes this girl would come. So, you know, the guys never wanted to kind of roll. It's really hard for them to want to roll, especially maybe if we're taller. I think the guys wouldn't mind rolling with me because I'm so much smaller.
Yeah.
It was always like, fuck. I could see the guys going like this, like, damn it. Anyway, one time I got teabagged by a guy. And he just
Side note.
He's just nicely graced me, and I got the giggles, and I could not stop laughing. And you know, the instructor just kind of said, "Do you need a moment?" I said, "I think I just need to leave because I can't even. I can't look at the guy anymore. He's feeling really embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know, he was so tall, like super tall. He was stuck with me, you know." And I just couldn't stop laughing. Like I went to the restroom. I tried to like really get my composure together and like really just say, okay, it happens. This is normal. But I couldn't stop laughing. I'm going to get the giggles again just thinking about it right now. Because it was just like, did this just really happen to me? I was like, okay. And then after that, I think the instructor just kind of was like, all right, let me see what guy I can always pair her with so that this doesn't happen again. Because I disrupted the class. I'm not going to lie. And I have the loudest laugh too. So
Oh, good. I love loud laughs. I'm in that club too.
I didn't help the situation anyway. But anyway, yeah. So I thought that's crazy. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu now?
Over 10 years. So I started October of 2011.
Wow.
2011.
What made you get into jiu-jitsu or start even that, and women's self-defense, and all of it together?
Yeah, let's dive right in. This is a little bit of a kind of a rough story why I started jiu-jitsu. I was assaulted twice in the same week. Once was physically, I got jumped, and the second time was a sexual assault. And my friend at the time, who is in a, do you know Five Finger Death Punch? Have you ever heard of that band?
Mm-mm.
So they're a pretty big rock band, and the lead guitarist, I've known him for probably 13 years. He said he does jiu-jitsu, he does judo. He's a black belt now in jiu-jitsu, black belt in judo. And I was like, what is the best martial art? And before I could even get it out, he knew where I was going. He was like, jiu-jitsu, because he's from Hungary, so he's this really thick, outrageous accent. Yeah. And I didn't tell him what happened, but I was able to overcome that in my own way because of jiu-jitsu. And now that's kind of my way of giving back to everyone. Although that's why I love teaching women how to be hard to kill. I love teaching kids. It's my favorite, because I wouldn't want anybody that I know or love to go through that. And I feel like jiu-jitsu is a really good tool to help you prevent that.
Wow. How long did you take before like you felt like
You were hard to kill.
Yeah.
Longer than I wanted to, honestly. Once I got my blue belt, I got a little cocky, like, yeah, I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which to look back is hilarious, because it's like I knew nothing. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Like each belt, you get a little bit more of a tool that can flip out of your knife. And I'm at brown belt. I'm looking at getting my black belt at some point, probably within the next year, which is crazy to think about. But I'm kind of just now getting to where I'm very confident in my skills. But I think part of that is the feedback you get from jiu-jitsu in real time, like with men, rolling with them. If they're your same level, it's a hard fight.
Yeah.
You know? But I've been very confident in my skills for probably the last couple of years.
So whenever this all happened to you and you started going to jiu-jitsu, what did that do to you? Like emotionally, mentally, like, was it like playing back for you, or were you just kind of like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to be attacked again at some point?
I wish a motherfucker would.
I wish a motherfucker would.
What's interesting is in the very beginning, it would play out like I would have kind of panic attacks, and my body would be like, get the hell out of here. Like, just tap. And somebody's side control just being on the bottom to pressure. Sometimes we're just like, I'm done. That went away, and then a couple of years ago resurfaced. And I think that that's what I love the most about jiu-jitsu is its real-time feedback of what's going on, like underneath the surface, like subconscious issues that maybe you haven't looked at. Jiu-jitsu sheds a light on. And it's sad to say, like, I'm as a brown belt having to worry about panicking again, but I think that everything is for a reason. And that's why I've been really big into breathing lately, because that's all you can do sometimes. All you can do is go, okay, as long as they're not choking you.
Yeah. And it's no breathing.
Yeah, that makes it a little hard to breathe. But that's why I focus so much on breathing, because I believe in my skills and the muscle memory that I've built. But sometimes you do panic. And it just, like, I went with Lauren Murphy. She's a UFC fighter a few months ago. And I was just on bottom, like, God, please, woman, get off me, get off me, get off me. And she said after the roll, she couldn't tell that I felt that way. But it was because I was breathing.
Oh, wow.
I was just like, okay.
I never really paid attention to it. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I thought jiu-jitsu was the dumbest, like, sport ever. Like, I just didn't find a purpose of it, because I came from boxing.
Okay.
And my boxing coach this is how I ended up at Urban Jungle for jiu-jitsu. He closed his gym, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was just like, what do I do now? There's not another boxing gym that I really like care to go to, right? And my friend was already doing jiu-jitsu, and he said, you should really come trying to do jiu-jitsu. And I was like, yeah, because most fights start on the floor, Jaime. I'm like, come on. I'm like, give me a break. Whoever needs that, who needs that skill? He's like, no, really, you should really come try it. It's a lot more than you think. And I was just like, no, but I will try Muay Thai, because it's a combination of, like, you know, you're standing, you're kicking. I think that's more my pace, you know? Yeah. I ended up doing jiu-jitsu because Muay Thai didn't kind of coincide with my schedule at the time. Okay. So I went and tried it, and I was just like, yo, I was done. We were in the same class, and I was done. And he goes, "What'd you think?" And I didn't want him to know that I really liked the class, right? Because I didn't want to admit he was right.
Typical.
Yeah, and I was just like, "It's cool," and he was like, "It's cool," and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say," you know. It was such a mental like struggle for me, like because it was not about like a jab. It wasn't about like duck for your jab, or you know what I'm saying. It wasn't like a 1-2. It was a shit. I'm in this situation, and I really don't know how I'm going to get out now. And this is really hard to get, because when you do have someone on top of you, the first thing you want to, it's like you do panic, and you're just kind of like, well, what do I do? You know, and you don't know what to do. Right. And it was just crazy. Like I was just like, this is such a useful skill. Like I can't believe that no one's ever like talked about it, or no one's ever like focused on it, or even like brought, especially self-defense. I had never taken the self-defense class until later, because they also hold a women's self-defense class there. And it was crazy just about like how ponytails are, like, you know, how they can just grab you from the back, and what to do when they, or you know, the what do you call it? The satchels, you know, when you have those. And it was just like, whoa. The reason we took that class was because my sister was assaulted. And it was in a really nice neighborhood here in Houston. It was right here. Are you from here? No. Okay. So it's like right here on, I guess like Kirby, and it's like a little more uppity area. Yeah. And it's funny because I had to go to work, and she wanted me to go out with her. And I said, no, I'm not, I have to go to work tomorrow, you know? And so she was like, okay, can I borrow your car? I said, sure. Takes my car, leaves. She's not really a party animal. So she was ready to go. Her friends were not. Walks out on her own. It's dark, but it's still a lot of happening, because there's a bunch of bars in that area that, you know, she's walking to her car, or my car. She opens the door, and a guy just has a knife to her and just says, don't scream, get in the car. And she was like, okay, listen, my purse is in the back. Here are the keys. Take the car, take my purse. Like, just let me leave. And he was just like, shut the fuck up, get in the car. So my sister gets in. My sister's big. She's probably about as tall as her, huh?
Yeah. She's a strong, big, strong
girl.
Yeah.
Like we're totally opposite.
Yeah,
like, shaped and everything. Like we're not even remotely the same size. And she sits in the driver's seat. She sits down, starts pressing the horn. Well, this guy gets nervous. She holds the knife. The knife goes through the hand. So she's holding the actual blade with her hand to prevent him from stabbing her. She's like slamming the horn. This guy just randomly is walking by, happens to come to help, right? He sees him coming, yanks the entire knife out. She's got pinky, thumb, index finger just pretty much hanging out in a big old slash, like in the middle of the hand. So imagine getting this call in the middle of the night, and you're just like, she's in the hospital, right? And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? And like, she's a big girl, so even like to attack a big girl, like I can see like maybe you coming up to me and thinking like, you know what I'm saying? But like my sister's not, and she's not fat. She's just a bigger built girl. Yeah. And so the amount of trauma it caused her for a hot minute, she didn't want to leave the house. You know, she wouldn't sleep at night, right? Like in fear of like something coming. The guy's face, rocked. Exactly. Like his face, just the image of his face would come. And they didn't do anything because the description of this guy was too generic. So anybody's a Hispanic male, and you know, all the features, I guess, that she described were just too basic. So they never found him. That was it. So they, you know what the city does? They try to compensate you. I think they were trying to offer her like $25 a day for counseling. It was really weird. My sister's like, what is money going to do for me? Like, this is really dumb. It was the stupidest thing ever. But I was already going to jiu-jitsu there, and I said, you should really try it. You know, you should start coming, and you know, maybe this is something that you would like. And so there was a self-defense class coming, and all the things that you learn there are things that I don't think women realize how important, because a lot of times, especially if you're a mom, you're kind of a little distracted with kids this way and another kid this way, or you're pushing the stroller and you're holding one here and you're pushing whatever you're carrying, and your surroundings. It's like, and even more so now, I feel like crime is up now.
Yeah.
Women, like, absolutely taking a self-defense class is like, we should have one. You should do one for us.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it, everybody.
Oh my God.
love
We
that.
should totally have. We should.
Like at
At her gym where you teach.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be able to host like a, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's actually one of the things I'm trying to put together soon. So
There you go. And there's
Let's do
there's
it.
one down the street. Like, you know, Crew Bob.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
her schools now. They have a Henzo Gracie at Main Street.
Ah, they do?
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to
Yes.
go out to Sugarland. We could do one down here, downtown.
doing downtown, girl. Yeah.
I love Crew Bob.
Oh yeah, we
Me
got to
too.
get him back on the show.
Man,
He's
he's
amazing.
amazing. We would do privates with him just
Yeah.
because he obviously doesn't teach a class anymore. He just, man, he'd wind you out.
Yes.
I just would be like,
He's
good
also
at
his
that.
energy is just amazing.
it's
too.
amazing, and he's just really like focused, and he's there for. I love him. That's for a whole other day. But yeah, that'd be cool if we did that. We should totally organize that.
Let's do it.
Ladies, if you are listening, come out, because Tara, tell us how important they are. Why don't you tell us? Explain to us, because you are the instructor.
Yeah, it's so important. One of the things that I want to point out right away that your sister did very well is trying to not get taken to a second location. That, like, I don't want to throw out a number, but 95% of the time ends in death. So it's really important to fight to not get to a second location. But the other thing that I think women don't really think about, they haven't consciously made the decision, if somebody attacks me, I'm going to fight back. You just don't think of it. That's how I never really thought about, like, hey, if I ever get attacked, I'm going to make sure I fight back. And even just that small conversation with yourself can make all the difference when it comes. You're almost giving yourself permission that you're valuable and that you will defend your body at all costs. So it's really important to know that, and that it's not always a stranger. A lot of the time it'll be somebody that you know, somebody that you could be in a relationship with. And I don't ever want to discredit that portion of it, because most of violent, especially sexual crimes, you know the person. And so I think just having that talk with yourself, checking in of, hey, God forbid this ever happen, I'm going to fight to stay alive if I'm put to that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to teach self-defense online. And I got into that more last year, and it was crazy on TikTok. The people like death threats and this bitch is going to get you killed. You know, you should never try that. And I'm like, you guys are the exact men that we're talking about protecting ourselves from. Like, the men that don't want women to have resources or discredit the fact that it does happen.
You know
a
what
lot.
I always worry about is, even though I've taken boxing, I didn't take jiu-jitsu long enough. I only went for a year. Then after that, I graduated college, and it was like, yeah, you should probably get a job now. So, you know,
Did you get any stripes on your white belt?
no, because it was, I would only
High
go,
five.
I only get to go Tuesdays. How funny, that's the day Pete goes.
How crazy.
Weird. I'd only get to go Tuesdays, right?
Yeah.
And classes there were Tuesday and Thursdays. But I'd only go to the fighter conditioning class on Mondays and Wednesdays, because those were easier on my schedule.
Yeah.
But why was I saying that?
You didn't go long enough?
Like, I didn't go long enough, but I did do boxing long enough, right? My question is always this to myself: should you find yourself in the situation, does your brain automatically think like, okay, it's time to put your skills to test? Or is it like, do you start just kind of panicking? Like, I'm always like worried about that. I'm always worried I'm going to panic before I think quick and like, oh no, I'm in this situation, I'm about to do some shit, you know?
Yeah. So you're not going to think. You will have some
Panic.
varying degree of panic. But one of my favorite quotes, that's not to discourage anybody. One of my favorite quotes Tim Kennedy has is, you will never rise to the occasion, you will fall to your level of training. So that's why these special forces, special operations, they're out practicing 12 hours a day, every single day, on what maybe could happen. So if it maybe does happen, they'll be prepared. So basically, you're going to be able to do anything that you rehearse for. And that's why jiu-jitsu is so good for women to get into, is because even though we're kind of rolling around and having fun with our friends, and, you know, sometimes it's not fun, sometimes it freaking sucks, but, you know, it's still practicing these movements under duress. So you get a little bit more comfortable being uncomfortable the longer that you go to jiu-jitsu. Now, a lot of people's beef with self-defense is like, you're never going to watch that once and remember it. You're right. You won't. But I would rather have women know they have an option and feel empowered to do something about it, to say, hey, I want to learn that throw. I want to learn that escape. I want to learn how to break a dude's arm. I want to learn how to break a dude's knee. I want to learn how to choke somebody unconscious if I ever have to. Just knowing that that's an option that they can do is going to be way more beneficial to women.
Yeah.
I need that quote
Or
on a
anybody.
shirt.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
quote.
a great quote.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like when he said that, it was at the last sheepdog response course that I taught, which was all women, which was amazing. We do a 21-hour course on the weekend about situational awareness basics, hand-to-hand combat with and without weapons, so the grappling, the jiu-jitsu portion, and then working with pistols. And it's an awesome course. It's called Women's Protector 1. Women can take it throughout they can take any courses, but the women's only just makes it a little more safe.
When is that?
The next one I'm teaching
Was that the Valentine's Day weekend one?
Valentine's Day one is Protector 1 for couples. So husbands, wives,
we should go do
girlfriends.
that.
Bruh, Dawn sent y'all the link to Marissa and you.
She did?
Yes.
They send so many things throughout the day. I
know.
can't keep up.
I totally understand.
Really? Dawn, sorry if I missed that link. We should do it, guys.
You should.
Uh,
That would be great.
we have the kids that weekend, I believe. Or we have something going on, unfortunately, that weekend. But I do
Or-
want to plan that for a weekend.
Yeah.
If it's not that weekend.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just a special Valentine's Day thing that we're doing, or hopefully we'll offer that again.
Maybe we can do that. Gift that to each other for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Dude, if
That'd
I
be
could get
dope.
away that weekend
be
and do
there.
that.
Yeah. Where is it?
Coming.
The 14th, right? The 14th, 15th, or 13th, 14th?
It's the 11th, 12th, and 13th because
Okay.
Valentine's Day is on a Monday.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
So what you can do is get yourself nice and exhausted from the Protector 1 couple course with Sheepdog Response, and then Monday you can have a nice relaxing day with
Yeah, we don't celebrate Valentine's
Oh.
Day anyway, so that's like perfect.
I thought you were going to say, and then further exhaust yourselves when you get back to your room.
yeah.
Make baby
No,
number
where
3.
is it? Where is it? Where is it?
In
It's in
Austin, right?
In Austin. Okay.
Yeah.
That could be our little getaway.
It could, and you know what's funny? You were supposed to have a show that week, but you're not.
How crazy.
At Cap
Look
City
at some
Comedy.
stars
Be.
just aligning.
Yeah.
I will say it is an exhausting course.
Yeah, how much of it can you tell us about? Like, what would it, like the whole, is every course 21-hour kind of lengthy weekend thing?
All of the Protector 1 courses are, which are your basics in survival, essentially basics in self-defense, self-awareness, situational awareness, grappling, pistols. We start out Friday night with the situational awareness talk, which Tim Kennedy himself gave it last time, which was just, I'm in awe of that man as a mentor. Like, he knows his stuff. You know, he's the guy that you want on his side if things go down on your side, right? And then we wake up early Saturday and Sunday. We grapple for the first like 5 hours, mostly technique, and then we roll. And
What if
then
you haven't been to jiu-jitsu in a hot minute?
It's
fine.
there was only one woman out of I think 40 that had ever done jiu-jitsu in our course.
Oh yeah? Okay.
We had 60-year-old women out there grappling their hearts out. Like I was so, it was such a good reset for me because I'm kind of at the point in my life to where like, can I really just do jiu-jitsu and self-defense for a living? And I feel like I haven't made it there yet, but I'm working toward it. And I feel like in America, you have that pressure of like, well, just go get your 9 to 5, make sure you have insurance, make sure you have a paycheck. And I'm like, you know, it's really tempting for
Trust
me.
me, I know.
You're going to say, yeah,
Like-
you're going to send Marisol on a whole nother tangent.
Right. So I'm trying to pursue that dream right now. I'm currently pursuing that. And to see all of those women at the Protector 1 course just absolutely kill it in every sense was like the most emotional. It was the most battery recharging types of things.
Wow.
That was December. It was our first one in Austin, the Women's Protector 1.
Wow.
And it was just amazing to watch these women transform because I think I'm allowed to talk about most of this. We'll see.
I don't know that anyone that would listens, right? Like that she would know where she could get in trouble.
Oh, I mean,
I won't get in trouble.
there's a couple of chicks in there, I'm sure in the community listening that are from the jiu-jitsu community.
world. Yeah, okay.
But one of the objectives for the grappling portion is what they call push you to the black. So you have all of these shades of colors of awareness and panic, and black is like you're absolutely panicked, you feel like you can't breathe. It's like a panic attack essentially. And our job as the instructors is to push those women to the black each day, to get them to the point to where they want to quit, to get them to the point to where they panic. And like you were asking earlier, you know, will I think to do the right thing or will I just panic? my biggest thing, and probably get tired of hearing me say this, is I just remind the women to breathe. Like, interrupt your thought patterns, count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That stops your thinking, your feedback loop, and breathe and start counting your breath. So even if you're not actively doing something, counting backwards kind of stops your thinking patterns, resets your brain, and gets you focused onto something other than panicking when you breathe.
I'm so paranoid to the point where, like, about things like that. Like, for example, I don't like to sleep with the door closed to my room because I'm afraid if I can't hear the back, even though I have an alarm system, I know that, but you know, you're asleep, and it's just like, I need to be able to hear. Like, sometimes my husband will close the door. I'm like, what are you closing the door for? He's like, because we're going to bed. I'm like, I know, but should something happen, we won't be able to hear, like, you know, what who's coming in or what. Like, we need to think quick. The girls are on that side of the house. Like, I think that way, right? It's funny because his siblings laugh at him. Remember I told you they made fun of him? They're like, well, what if blah blah blah. Everybody said, yeah, Marisol's got, you know, I got that. I protect the family, like, she'll handle it,
yes.
not you know. But it's funny because I think that way. I think I've become more so since a lot of this pandemic issues and people like getting really weird and, you know, starting to like just breaking into houses, attacking people for no reason, road rage, like all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like start to think about all those. Like, I'm up at night breastfeeding my child. I'm just like, I wish a motherfucker would. The gun's over there on Pete's side of the nightstand. Hell nah. I need it on my side of the nightstand. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like thinking about all these things, like, you know, because my husband's sitting there snoring, you know? So it's like, I'm up breastfeeding, and it's just kind of like, man.
You're like, what's he going to do? Tell him a joke? What are you going to do? Make him laugh?
I don't know. Like, what are we going to do here? You know? So it's like, I do think about all those things. And I think it's important for all women to understand how important that is, because I would say, I don't know that I'll ever be able to take over a 300-pound man on me, but we're going to fight. And I'm going to probably leave there fucked up, but you're not going to, I think this, like, you're not going to beat me. Like, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Again, I've never been in the situation, so I don't know. So that's why I'm always like, it's important, I feel, for women to have some sort of kind of skill in something of self-defense. I don't care what it is that you do, but figure it out.
And a lot of it's probably confidence, right? That they have confidence in themselves and their abilities.
Yes.
Would
That's part of having that conversation of just deciding, like, even if it's my loved one that's attacking me, I'll do anything I can to defend myself. A lot of people just don't get to that point to where they think of it or make it conscious.
Do you suggest people have any kind of training before they take a course? Or is it better they just go in there like...
Just go. Just do it. I'm the type of person that likes to get in shape before I actually get a gym membership, which is so dumb. And I tell people, you know, that want to start, they're like, well, I need to get in shape to do jujitsu. And it's like, the only thing that will get you in shape for jujitsu is jujitsu.
Yeah.
Right. So just do it. Anything in your life that you want to do or accomplish, just do it. Because I've been going through this recently with myself.
My quote is perfect today.
I told you.
Choices, right? What?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Psychologists basically divide people into two groups. Ones that do and ones that think. And I'm a thinker. I think that I've had a lot of great ideas and I can do a lot of things with my life, and I'm still living in my coach's guest bedroom and like waking up every morning nauseous. Like, how am I going to make money? And I think that I've found that just having and seeking out knowledge is comforting enough for me to feel like I did something without actually doing something. So I'm at like the phase of my life to where I just need to do it and not worry about if every little step's going to be perfect or if I fail. I just need to do it. And that's what I would say. And I remember Shia LaBeouf, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we all need a little bit more of in our life.
A little Shia, a little crazy Shia.
Yeah, a little crazy Shia, for
Wow.
sure. Because it is. It's very important. And that quote is like one of my favorite things that you could have said about playing to the best of your ability the cards that you're dealt, because none of us get to choose that. None of us do. And it's tough. Like, when I work in this space with women who have been sexually abused or abused, traumatized, you know, etc., it's hard to have the talk where I say, it's not your fault what happened, but it is your responsibility on how you continue to move forward. Somehow it gets, and I was the same way. I was angry, bitter, and it was eking out into every aspect of my life. And I finally just had to look at myself and go, I don't like that this happened to me, but what can I do? Because I'm not going to keep giving that person the satisfaction or the power. And they're not going to fix it for me either. But it's hard when something like that you didn't ask for happens to you. It's important to know it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility how you choose to move forward. It's where your power is. It's exactly where your power is.
For sure. Wow. Before you started doing all this, what were you doing? Like before you started teaching? I know you said you went to school to study opera, but what did you do between then and?
I started in radio when I was 16 years old.
Oh.
Which actually I got hired because they loved my obnoxious laugh. I have a really loud, obnoxious laugh. One year I was doing a morning show in Des Moines, Iowa.
Where are you from?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yes. Which I'll never go back to live in Des Moines. It was too cold. Blech. Never again. A guy called in and we were on a delay. So we did our show live and he goes, man, hey Moose, the guy did the show with his Moose. Hey Moose, hey B-Sox, I love your show, but that girl her laugh sounds like a goose getting fucked. And we had to like dump it immediately, but that's how I describe my laugh now is because of him. Like that is kind of essentially my laugh. So to bring it full circle, one of the program directors at the radio station, I was just an intern where they would just like knock the CD case down and be like, oh, look, guess the intern has to alphabetize these CDs. Like, that's kind of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because this was back in 2005. And they asked me to be on the night show. And so I was like, really? Okay. And it made me the coolest kid in high school because I was still going to high school and on the radio. And then I stuck with it ever since. And then the pandemic happened. And that was not, that was supposed to be in there. Then that all happened and I just got out of media. I was doing radio and television for about 13 years.
So you just recently, like legit, just like 20.
Yeah. Recently, very
You ready to
recently.
dive into this or what?
I've kind of been, I've been very adrift since then, but I think it's been a necessary process in my life.
Was it because you quit because they let you go because of the pandemic?
I got fired because I was sick for too long. And which is hilarious. I got fired being sick at the beginning of a pandemic. This was March of 2020. I got let go. And literally like 2 weeks later is when they shut everything down. And
wait, did you catch COVID and it wasn't like a thing yet?
Yeah, we didn't have a test yet because I was sick. I have autoimmune, so I really struggle with my health. And they knew that. It frustrated them because it's very obvious. I did a morning show at the time. It's very obvious when one of the anchors of the morning show is not there. You either have to replay bits so the other person doesn't have to host by himself or whatever. So I had gotten sick a lot, and then I had this opportunity to meet these people in Dallas to do commentary for a grappling event called Kasai.
Were you already doing jiu-jitsu during then?
Yes.
You were? Okay,
Yes.
because the assault had already happened.
That was in college. That was 2008.
Got it. Okay. Just trying to get the timeline.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Where'd you go from night show to morning show?
Yeah.
So I did the night show all throughout high school, and then when that was up and I went to college, I did the night show in Oklahoma City as well. So after that, though, I didn't do a night show anymore. I did mornings for 8 years, and that schedule was soul-sucking. It was horrible.
What time do you have to be there?
3 in the morning. And
So what time do you go to bed? 8?
no, like, thank you, Ambien, like the glue that held me together, because I'm not a morning person. So the fact that I did mornings.
She is my soul sister. She is, bro. Don, thanks again. Rob, thanks.
They say, though, that what time you're born tells you whether you're a morning, afternoon, or night person. I was born at 7 p.m. My mama, who's a morning person, was born at like 6 a.m. So I am finding. Do you know what
I need to
time you
find
guys
that.
were
I'm gonna
born?
ask my mom.
Yeah, I was born at midnight, I think, which explains a lot. I love staying up late.
There you go. See,
Do you know you were born?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Ask Angeles
I'm gonna
after
ask
this.
my mom. Yeah.
I'd wager it'd be in the evening if you're not a morning girl.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
I'm not at all. That's why.
Wait, and Penny was born at like 4 a.m, which explains why she is a ready to go morning person.
Yeah.
Sunny was not though.
Well, hers
She
was a
was
little
still,
different.
yeah,
Her
she was
birth
born
a
at
little-
night. Yeah, hers didn't go as planned, but she was a 9 a.m.er, which is around the time she does get up.
Yeah.
My little 5-month-old does get up at like 9.
Well, hey, there we go. We just worked
I'm
it
gonna
out
look
in
that
real
up.
time.
See, now I don't feel lazy.
It's all in my DNA.
I know we have that as a culture. It's the hustle culture now, and you see these 19-year-olds on TikTok making $26 million a year because of the hustle culture, or
Hey,
whatever.
Look, we're Gary Vee fans here too, but also we gotta like draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny
Yes.
because I just like I have to set an alarm. I'm not somebody that
Yeah.
like just it's 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's a great morning. I'm not.
Birds sing,
like-
Snow White sings.
If I have to get up at 6, I'm just kind of like, fuck, man, today's gonna be a shitty ass day. I just know it is. Like, how many cups of coffee am I gonna have to have? I'm already calculating all the ones, like almost like a baby. I feed at 6. I'm feeding at 8. I'm feeding like especially like when we travel for my husband's job, and it's like he's a comedian. And we have like 6 a.m. flights. That means we probably got up at 4. We're leaving at 4:30 to get there at 4:50 and it's just like that first sip of, he'll be like, do you want coffee? I'm like, I'm not sipping it till I get to the airport because it's useless from now until then, I was like, I'm just going to wait. And it's like cup 1. Then we'll get to wherever we're going. There's as soon as I land, it's like, I need another coffee. And then it's like before a show, it's another coffee. And it's like, okay, like how much more coffee do I need? That's me.
There's some diminishing returns there at some point, though. You're having all this coffee and caffeine. There'll be times when there's a few times that I've been on the road with them, and like, all right, let's go get a coffee. And it's literally, let's go get a coffee. And then before show, Rob, can you go get a coffee? I got to do this. And I think to myself, I was like, we've had coffee 4 times today.
Yeah.
We went to Starbucks 4 times in a day. Now we don't go at all because we boycotted them, but
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, folks. Green
Damn
Queen,
it.
no more.
I
For real,
know.
For real.
Her Green Queen is no
Hey,
more.
but they're not requiring vaccines anymore.
I
So I
know.
might visit them once in a while.
Yeah, well, maybe we can talk about that when we get into that subject because I know Tara's got a lot of opinions on that kind of stuff.
do.
But let's go back to Kasai. What happened? So shifting.
Oh yeah. I wasn't feeling well, but I had an opportunity to go meet the powers that be for another opportunity within the jiu-jitsu and broadcasting space, which is perfect for me. And I got extra sick trying to make all of that happen because I'm not the person. I don't conserve energy. I am just like all the time and trying to make sure everybody feels good and be the entertainment. And so I was meeting a lot of people and having fun. And then I got home on that Friday night to my Airbnb and I was like, oh my God, I'm sick. And then I woke up the next day and was like, oh man, I'm like really sick. But I was like, you're here to meet these people, so go to the show. I went, I left early, and I ended up driving home and got home at like 4 a.m. from Dallas because at the time I was still living in Tulsa. And they saw that I was in Dallas. I called them and was like, look, my fever is super high. I'm not going to be able to come in Monday. And for whatever reason, they thought that was kind of like a stab in their back, that I was well enough to go to Dallas, but not well enough to come in and do the show on Monday. And then that Monday...
After being there, how long?
3 years.
Oh.
3 years. Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up.
Corporate, man.
And I get like, my health frustrates me, so I can only imagine that it frustrates employers, but it got to the point to where it felt like they thought I was just making it up, which is just a crazy,
Notion.
on its own. And yeah, like a couple weeks later, I got a high fever again, and I went into the show, and the guy that I did the show with was like, why are you here if you're so sick? I was like, because I just had a meeting with all of our bosses and they showed me how many days I'd missed. And I got fired for saying that on the radio because it made them look bad, I'm guessing.
Damn.
So I got let go March 14th, and then the pandemic
Is that
happened.
even legal? Could you have fought that? Wait a minute.
I think I could have. They gave me a pretty good deal on my severance.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of tried to pick and choose, but I did get denied unemployment And I've kind of been in that weird space since then, like wanting to do something on my own with my life, but also being so comfortable with a bi-weekly check or bi-monthly check and knowing where my money's coming from and having a stable job. I've never tried to do anything on my own. And so it's kind of scary right now trying to take the leap for that.
We'll help you.
Yeah.
Let me know how I can help.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's just something I got to do, I guess, you know. I get really annoyed with myself because I'll write down, again, like I'll think and I'll seek knowledge. But when it comes time to take action, I'm just like, well, no thanks. I'd rather just, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm waiting for some mystical like angel to appear in front of me and be like, Tara, do this. Just like this with A, B, and C. Plot it out for me.
Well, with jackets like that, you'll have a mystical something walk up to you.
Listen, you have to just start baby steps, legit. Like, what's like, not before step A, what is that? And then like, okay, I've accomplished that. I'm ready to get over, like, I've done that. Now I can go into A. And then you have to go, you have to do the in-betweeners, the halfway mark to get to that. And then the next, because some people work that way. They're not like, you know, like, for example, like my sister is a 9 to 5 person. She doesn't want to, like, she likes to go to work. She likes to do a good job at work. And she likes to be done at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., whatever her time is. And she likes to be home doing nothing. Like, she enjoys going to CrossFit, going to jog. She enjoys herself, like life, because she was always like, I sometimes want to be an entrepreneur like you and just not like worry about having to answer anybody. I'm like, no, you don't. No, it's really nice that you go in, you do something, and you leave, and you get to leave it at the office. You don't have to take it home with you. But I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know you well, but I feel like you're kind of doing what you love right now.
Yeah.
To where, because you love it, you will go and do whatever it is that you're trying to do on your own.
Yeah.
Because you're doing wonderful things. I mean, you're helping women overcome, you know what I'm saying, whatever things they've dealt with, the trauma and so forth. I mean, children. Hello. Children alone, they're the best. Exactly. And that's where it starts. You know, if you can mentally prepare. I can't wait for my daughter to go in. Like, I'm ready. Like, she's not, I think she's, because she's 3, they won't take her yet.
Yeah, 4 though.
So it's 4, yeah. So I'm just like waiting, because
there.
it's like, all right, it's July. Come on, July. Because she says she's a ninja. So she'll come up to Rob and be like,
oh, dude, she'll like throw kicks and like punches. She'll throw like, and she has pretty good technique. She'll like throw me kind of like a Joe Rogan sidekick, and then like go for my thigh. She'll go like 1, 2, and I'm like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
she's strong for being 3.
And she's like ready. She says, can we play ninja now? Oh, well, now it's new one.
What is it?
Can we play mafia? And I really have gone through her kids' YouTube to see who the hell used the word mafia.
Interesting.
But they're called Kid Mafia.
Okay.
So they're Kid Mafia, right? And they're playing. It's a game they play, Kid Mafia, and I have no idea what that is. And I was just like, I want to play Kid Mafia. I'm like, why are you saying mafia? Where'd you get mafia from? And I'm like wondering where mafia is coming from. And I finally found the damn video, and it's these kids saying that they're Kid Mafia.
Man, I was trying to think of the band La Mafia the other day, and I couldn't think of it.
There you go.
Damn, that's crazy. Anyway, sorry,
So
that's a total. Yeah, it was a conversation Chingo and I were having, and anyway.
But I'm excited for her because I feel like my parents didn't do any of that for us, right? I found boxing because my aunt was going to my coach's women's boxing class, and it was just to get in shape.
Yeah.
And I danced all my life, and I was doing dance, and then this is really weird, I know. I had such a bunch of spare time, and I was like, well, I'm done with dance early. Like, why can't I go do this boxing class? This sounds fun. Well, I liked it so much, I became his women's boxing coach, like women's boxing class instructor, because I loved it that much.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, this is real. And then I grew his class because I really enjoyed it. And then it was like, he closed down, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, this is really depressing. Like, what the hell do I do with myself now? You know what I'm saying? But what I'm getting at is it's a really good feeling, because just watching the women, in my case, it wasn't for self-defense. It was just really more for conditioning, you know?
Yeah.
But just to watch women feel better about themselves, you're giving them a lot. You're giving them a sense of self-esteem, security, like skills, So it's like, I think you just kind of found your calling, Tara.
Yeah.
Build
I think
it,
you did.
and they will come.
And they will come.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many kids were you teaching the other night when we had dinner?
Oh.
You were like, I'm almost out of energy.
Well, that was only from 5 4-year-olds, but usually I teach 30 to 40 kids are in a night class at Henzo Gracie Houston. But my wrestling coach at Henzo Gracie wanted me to teach his daughter jiu-jitsu, and she's 4. And so they got like all the neighborhood kids together. So there's a group of 5 4-year-olds that had never done jiu-jitsu. And it was just like, I mean, it's herding cats for sure. It's like, all right, guys, now we're going to wait. What are you doing over there? Okay, we gotta, but it's so rewarding. And my favorite part about the kids class is that you'll walk up and be like, hey, Grayson, how you doing on this armbar? And he'll be like, there was one time this summer that a wasp flew in my friend Cody's shorts and we had to go to the hospital. I'll be like, great, how's that armbar coming along? Or hey, I'm 4. I'm this many.
Yeah.
They always have to tell you how old they are, which I just think is
Penny,
adorable
right?
Yep.
and endearing.
She goes like this.
Yep.
Now, instead of when she poses to take a picture, she no longer does the peace sign. She does the 3. Because I guess she wants everybody to know in her pictures that she is 3. So she no longer does this. It's funny you say that. This summer, Penny took ballet and gymnastics. And so she's a July baby. So I kind of have a hard time because she's kind of like doesn't turn the age yet. And so anyway, when she would go to gymnastics, she just had this separation anxiety thing. And so I'd have to sit near her and I would watch the instructor and I'd be like, how the hell does he do this? Because it's like, come on, hey, come on. All right, we're going to jump in through these hoops. We're jumping the hoops. Come on, guys, come on. And I'm just like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how do you control these kids? Everybody's wanting to do. I mean, he literally has to act like a clown, like not like, but he has to be like, all right, guys, we're going to jump in. And then it's like
Blue's Clues style.
Yeah. And then, and then they're listening. It's like, oh, you've got to change the voice. And it's like, there was one young little boy that they had. He was a sub one time. Poor kid. He might have been like 18. This is probably his summer job, and he's just like trying really hard to control everybody. I don't play with Penny, so I just like, you better listen, And so she's like listening, but there's the other little girl. She's just twirling and twirling and twirling, and she's like, "Come on, we gotta jump now." And it's just like, it takes a lot to teach children that small. Yes. That little, because their attention span, I understand now because I'd be pissed as a mom, like, well, why can't she start now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? Well, that explains it. Why? It's really hard. One thing I want to say is, before I'd go to my class, it'd be the kids class. Yeah. And I would always notice that the little girls could beat the little boys with no problem. And the little boys would walk off crying. They'd be so mad. Maybe you can confirm this, but I had asked the instructor, like, why that is. Like, why are these little girls beating the little boys? And they're like, he's like, I hate to say this, he was a male. He's like, but women think like they're thinking as they're like they're attacking, versus he's mad and he's trying to like fight. And so he's not using the skill. The girls are actually using the skill that they were taught because they're told what to do, like, in that situation. And so whatever moves it would be crazy. Like the girls would always end up on top. And I'd be like, what is going on here? Why is there like little boys always losing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't like going to like, I want the boys to win, but I was just like, I need somebody to tell these little boys they suck. Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Step it up. Yeah. Is that true? Is it that little girls? Do you notice that the little girls? Yeah.
But women are more aggressive.
This is true.
Like even watching like MMA fights, I feel like in the UFC, a lot of the most aggressive fights are women. And I think there's something to, depending on the boy's age, like, well, if I beat her, it's a girl, and so I just need to, kind of take it easy and move around. But I do know for sure with the adults, men will all think it's kind of fun and games. Not every guy, but you get those couple of guys that once I start getting in a dominant position, they're like, oh shit, well, I can't let her win. And, you know, they just kind of get angry and freak out a little bit. It's more like people who haven't been doing it for very long, but it still happens. And I think that that's always interesting to see. Like, I need to train with men, but you have to know which men you can train with.
It's funny you say that, because the guys that I would be training with, right, they never would want to, like, I'd always be like, no, I need you to be rough with me, because no one's going to say, oh, she's a girl, so I'm not going to do this, right? So this is how I became friends with this guy. His name's Victor. He'd come in. He was the first guy that really, like, didn't give a fuck. And I was like, hey, guy, like, wait a minute here, you know, type of thing. He's like, hey, in real situations, no one's going to care that you're a girl. So I have to be real. And I was like, yes, he was the perfect height. So he's probably like Pete's height. So, you know what I'm saying? I was always like, I'd text him before I got his number. I'm like, hey, are you going to class today? And I'm like, I really need you to go, because I knew that he would legit, like, really roll with me. And it wasn't going to be like, oh, she's a girl, I have to be, you know, soft with her, or I have to be nice to her. And so he was the only one. But anyway, I can't wait to put my little girl in there. I can't, like, wait to see her and just kick ass. So I'm really excited for that. What is it that you're trying to do? What are you trying to branch off on your own? What goal is that you have? Do you want to share? No?
Yeah, no, I have a couple different goals. I would love to be an authority in the women's self-defense space. Whether that I'm about to do, there's a company called BJJ Fanatics that reached out and wants me to do a DVD, or I say DVD. Does anybody? It's still called a DVD, but it's more of a digital product.
I'm gonna make a mini disc.
Yeah, a mini disc. So that's a good start. I want to do more on social media, because I think I got over the brunt of the crazy feedback. Like, you're just always going to get that. The keyboard warriors.
Oh, don't we know it?
Always going to get that. That is just part of it.
People are brutal.
Very, very brutal.
I just posted a video not too long ago, and someone said, so are you really going to drop weight this time, or is this just propaganda?
You're like, bitch, I had a baby 3 months ago.
I just had a baby.
Or not even. It was like 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was like, can you cut me some slack here? And that's what I said. I just had a baby. I said, can you cut me some slack? I'm just now going into, like, I'm getting back to actually, like, working out.
Fuck those people. You don't even have to, you shouldn't even have to validate or explain.
I just like being,
anything about your body.
I love making people feel like I kill them with kindness. So I'm
For
like,
sure.
I'm always like, thank you for noticing. Like, please come back and visit my page.
Yeah, I love doing the same
I always do that. Like, please come back and visit my page just to check on my progress. Come back and check on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to do it. This is really random, but speaking about that, when my husband came out and said that who he voted for, right? Because it wasn't Biden. We got a lot of shit, right?
Yeah. Oh God, I can only imagine.
A lot. Like, I hate you. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. That's probably the nice ones, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You should have seen my DMs. They were crazy. At some point, I was like, I can't even get on social media anymore. Like, this is really, like, being very toxic. Like, I just can't handle it. And then one day, I just said, I don't give a fuck, because none of y'all pay any of my bills.
Right.
Like, none of y'all do. Like, I think people think that I make my money off of social media, and I don't. And I can't emphasize that enough. Social media for me is how I engage with people, and that is how I, like, for a hot minute, I used to do Zumba and personal training. That's how I would advertise.
Yeah.
So my bodybuilding journey, I documented it. So that was how I would get a lot of my people that would come to my classes. So it did bring business that way, right? And that's kind of what it is. It's a way for me to advertise.
Yes.
That doesn't always mean you're going to get their business. You know what I'm saying? And so I just had to get to the point where it was like, I just don't care. And I started killing them with kindness, and they couldn't stand it. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really fun. Like, people just can't stand for you to be nice to them. Like, they really can't.
Yes.
And my response to everybody at the end, and I have my whole quote memorized, it was like, thank you for your unsolicited opinion. Unfollow. And that was it.
Yeah.
Unfollow. And it's just
Easy
like,
as
you
that.
don't like it. I mean, you choose who you follow on the internet, right?
Right. People love to be crappy towards people who are doing something with their life and putting themselves out there. It reminds them of how they're not doing that, and to feel involved with it, they have to spew hate. But the way I had to start looking at it, because my first, I guess it wasn't my first, it was probably my second or third TikTok video went viral, like got 6.3 million views.
Oh, wow.
And I have to attribute that to the number of people who were hateful, because the more you comment, the more it pushes the video out, the more interaction that they have, it pushes it out to a lot more accounts. So in a way, they helped me out a lot by getting my video seen. And I just have to remember that, because I'm with you, girl. Like, I'm sure we could swap hate messages that would blow people's minds. I'm sure we could. I know we could. I mean, I wish I had mine prepared. I could just read some of them to you, but I won't waste anybody's time because they're just all trashy. But it's interesting too, trying to, what's the word? Not sort through, process. It's interesting to try to process all of this, because I just watched one of Rogan's guests talked about how our brain is still Paleolithic. So basically like the dinosaur era, our brains are still Paleolithic. Our government is still medieval, and our internet is more than godlike. And so trying to process something more than godlike, and I don't mean that in a religious matter, I just mean
control-wise.
That's the level that our social media is at. I mean, you can hit a button and a billion people can see it, where we've never had this before. And so it's interesting for our nervous systems to try to attune to all of this, because it's so brand new. Like, I didn't even have Facebook in high school. I was still at that age to where Facebook hadn't become a thing yet.
How old are you?
I'm 31. I'll be 32 this year. And I can't imagine growing up right now and feeling the pressure to like be everything on a platform like that, and trying to process
that's the problem with a lot of, I think, little girls especially. That's why for me it's super duper, like, it's like I always say this, like, I have no problem with like plastic surgery or anything that you want to do to make you feel better, but I just kind of like always want for my girls to understand that you don't need to enhance anything to feel better or be prettier or be successful or any of that. Like, you were made perfect. Like, this is the way. If it makes you feel better, fine. You know what I'm saying? Go get it done, you know? But I think it's so important to teach that to little girls, especially, that you don't have to look like Kim Kardashian to be successful. You don't have to look like any of these girls, like, that get all these, especially like a lot of the influencers, like a lot of the YouTubers and all that, you know, they're watching them, and, you know, they're doing all these things, and they think they have to be that in order to do anything. And isn't that crazy that that's the era we're in?
Yes. Especially young women's minds. Women are under attack all the time.
Always.
And especially young girls right now with the filters. Like, TikTok just had to release that they even if you turn the beauty filter off, it still enhances your face. So you get addicted to seeing yourself looking a certain way, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, well, I don't look like that. Well, none of us really do. And it's programming these younger minds to think like, I'm not beautiful unless I slap a filter on my face, or I take it to a face tuning app and start. I struggled with the same thing. Being in radio and television, they edit a lot of your headshots to where it doesn't even really look like you. I mean, I didn't think it looked like me. I was like, who is this Barbie doll version of Tara? Like, and it messed with me, because I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, ugh, but that's not what this looks like, but this is what I feel like I'm supposed to look like. And I really think women are under attack in that regard. It's wanting to keep us small, wanting to keep our self-esteem in the gutter all the time. And I don't know what the answer is, because I had plastic surgery when I was 21. I had a boob job, and by the time I was about 26, I was like, I hate these didn't make me feel any better. So I had them removed. And that was such an interesting journey of being able to like reflect on myself and really wake up one morning and go, I don't identify with these. In fact, I feel less beautiful with them. It was really strange, because I thought that was going to be my golden ticket to loving myself. Big old pair of boobs. Yeah. Slap them on me and I'm going to, love myself and my image.
No, but a lot of people do, women, not people, but women do feel like if they do that, and I think it does to some degree help some women feel better and more pretty. And I hate that. plastic surgery and this time that we're in has made women feel like they're not pretty enough unless they do a little bit of something. Like, do you have to walk around with lips that touch the top of your nose and the bottom of your chin?
Lisa Rinna, honey.
I mean, is that really necessary? Like, if you're gonna do it, I feel like just keep it a tad bit natural. Just like make it look filtered. I don't know, like just a little bit. Like, you don't need to be so exaggerated.
It becomes an addiction.
I see that, and that's what I told Rob. It's like I'm almost glad that I can't get Botox yet, just because I breastfeed and you can't do it. But it's like, I know I don't need the fucking mirror to tell me what my flaws are. I know them. Like, duh. You know what I'm saying? So could there be some things that I could totally, I mean, but it's also like, I think about like, but why?
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, why? Who am I trying to like make feel better? I don't know, like myself, kind of, maybe for a little bit, but then I'll find something else that I'll need to work on, and I need to change this and I need to change that.
Never ends.
Partially the reason why everyone always says, even my mom has said, like, why are you doing all this? Like, why can't you just go get like a mommy makeover and you're done? You don't need to like stress out about having Dawn make your food. Because the other day she came and babysat. She's like, what's all this food? I'm like, you can have one. I'm like, I just won't be with, I'll be one less meal. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, just eat that. And then she's like, you're doing this again? I'm like, yeah, like I want to get back in shape. And she's like, yeah, so you already had 2 kids. You might just want to think about, like, you know, I know this really good doctor. And she just starts telling me about, like, I'm like, no. So I just want to like kind of prove a point that if you work at it, and you really stay disciplined and dedicated, if you really want something, you can work on it on your own, right? But like I've said this plenty of times on the podcast, I know, looking at my body, that I'm going to have a crazy amount of excess skin that's probably going to stay there, and I don't want it there. So I do want that removed, you know, but I want it removed after I do what I need to do to get to the goal that I want to attain, right? And I feel like that's, I don't know if that's the case for a lot of people. Like, okay, so right now I think I look great. I might like, my nose needs to look like this, just like the perfect amount. Like, I don't know, like, what do you sit there and do all day? Like, when I see people, like, I'll see someone one day and then it's just like, well, what did you do to your face? Like, it's like a little bit makes you look totally different. And I don't know why we women who, like, especially like those who are feminist and fight for all these rights, what the fuck? You like, weren't you just fighting for all this like amazing shit? But now we need to look like a certain way, or we have to like appear to, I don't know. I'm confused right now. And I'm 40 and I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because it is confusing. It's meant to be confusing. I think you're sold an idea from a very young age that you won't be happy unless you look like this. And it reminds me of that meme with like 12-year-old, is it Kylie Jenner? And then now 24-year-old, and it says, just a reminder that you're not ugly. You're just poor.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
I think when it comes to attaining any kind of goals in that way, it's like, what is your motivation behind it? So like, I hate myself and I hate my body and I'm ugly, so I want to do this to feel better, whatever that might be, a nose job, a boob job, a whatever. But if you don't like reflect inwardly, you're still going to be at this point with your perfect nose, boobs and shoulders and stomach, and still have something gnawing at you that you hate yourself. That's why it never really translates to actual happiness, is because none of those factors can really give you the happiness. And I think that people think that, yeah, if I had the perfect body, my life would be easy. And this, you know, everything would go according to plan. And that wasn't the case.
You have to have a plan, period.
Yeah.
What is your plan? What is your plan? When is it that you're going to now start posting ass pictures on social media? Is that your plan, so that picture can go viral, and maybe who's going to reach out to you? Bathing suit company? I don't know. Yeah. Like, influence
like, is still power. You know, it's like one of the biggest power generators.
Is. Yeah. I was telling Pete the other day, I was like, hey, I'm going to start, whenever I get in shape, I was like, all my workout videos, it's like, I just want you to film my ass. I was like, just squatting, going up, squatting, going up. I was like, because if I was watching this bodybuilder and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I get it. But do we have to watch your ass the entire time? Like, some of us are here to let's see your workouts of like how you built your arms, your shoulders, like
Nobody's here for that.
And I'm like, some of us are here to see that. And I swear every other video is like, she's got like underwear, shorts that look like underwear, and she's squatting and the camera's straight on the ass. And I'm just like,
God bless her.
all right, T then. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right. You know what I'm saying? I was like, the bodybuilding world is really changing. I was like, I told Pete, I was like, so I might need to change my Instagram pretty soon. And I'm just going to have ass. I was like, as soon as I, because I'm always self-conscious in my videos. Like Sean will ask, my trainer will say, hey, how come you didn't post a video? I'm like, yeah, some of that stuff was like kind of jiggling. I don't really know that I want it on the internet just yet. I'm like, let me, let my body be a little bit more like transformed. And then I'll be like, this is the jiggly that I had before I looked like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not ready to release those yet. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'll see like women, like they just had babies. They'll post a picture of them in the diaper, like right after they had a baby and they're carrying their baby. I was like, no fucking way would I post a picture of myself with the diaper that you're wearing after you just had a baby and like talk about the, you know, the struggles of a mother. I'm like, no one needs to know this shit. Like, I don't want to show anybody what I look like in this damn diaper. Like, really, it's not like I think we all know how shitty that process is, like right after, you know what I'm saying? So it's like hilarious. But I think what you do is great because I feel like some women are missing that and that feeling like empowered, you know?